What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Uncommon Mindset podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very, very special guest. Today, I'm joined by Sierra Blair Coyle. I'll just give you a brief background on who Sierra is. Sierra is one of the most recognizable climbers on the planet. She's a professional rock climber and has been competing professionally since the age of only 14. She is Pan American Bouldering champion and also has been a World Cup competitor from 2010 to 2019, as well as a two-time national champion as a junior competitor. Sierra graduated in 2016 from Arizona State University with a degree in marketing. She now enjoys traveling the world, competing and doing what she loves full time. What an absolute uncommon individual she is, and it's such an honor to have you on the podcast today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
No worries, Sierra. So the first question I want to ask, because when I heard it myself, it was kind of funny to me. I know that you got into climbing at a mall. Is that correct?
I did. Yeah, that is correct.
What was that whole experience like, and how did you actually stick to doing climbing for the rest of your life, basically?
Yeah, so kind of what happened is I tried climbing at the mall for the first time, and it was just obviously like a portable wall. And I fell in love with it, and I thought it was so much fun. And I would beg my mom to take me back every single day, and she would. And that's like the middle of Arizona summer. So Fahrenheit people, it's like 110 plus every day. So it's just like hot. And I told her that I wanted to be a professional climber, and she was like, "Hey, that's awesome. That's so cool. I totally support you, but I don't know if that's a thing." But luckily, a couple weeks later, there's an article in the newspaper on a local climbing team and how they just gone to nationals. So my mom saw it and asked me if I wanted to basically join the climbing team, and I said yes, of course. And it just snowballed from there.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Did you have anyone that just said to you like that was doubting you, saying that, you can't be a professional climber or anything like that?
No, not that I could really think of. I will say becoming a professional climber, much like just becoming a professional in any sport, is difficult. But the one kind of different aspect about climbing is there's no set way to being a professional. Like it's not like being a professional basketball player where you play in the NBA and they're kind of more like concrete steps on how to get there in climbing. It's very like sporadic and it's just a little bit different. So I think no one really knows how to become a professional climber. It just like you end up like getting there somehow, like there is a trail, but you usually have to make it yourself.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And I obviously mentioned earlier that you went to Arizona State University to do
Yes.
marketing. Is that something that you're passionate about?
Not particularly. I basically just, wanted a degree so I'd have something to fall back on after climbing. I started out as an accounting major because I like numbers, and then after doing one semester of accounting, it didn't click for me. And I was like, you know what, I can't really be struggling in university and also climbing professionally. So then I switched to doing marketing. And I still obviously had like the stressors of university, but it was a lot easier on my brain.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, like I did enjoy it, and it was fun to be there and everything. But yeah, it was more just I wanted to get a degree and I wanted to get a business related degree.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Did Arizona actually have like a climbing team? Is that a thing in college?
Yeah, so they have a collegiate climbing series in the US. It kind of really started to get like more official once I'd already graduated college.
Oh,
When I was at ASU, they didn't have a climbing team. The closest thing they had was called the ASU Outdoors Club. And so they would go climbing, but they'd also do other outdoor things. So
mm,
I know a lot of people really enjoyed it, and it was a really good club for what it was. But I just never joined because I was always, so busy kind of doing my own thing.
yeah, yeah. I always see climbers, and it looks so tough. It is a
Mhm.
tough sport, right? One thing that I always go back to myself. So I do jiu-jitsu, and we wear this thing called a gi, and basically the grips we have to have on them is really tight. And
Yeah.
I every time I see climbers, I'm like, their fingers must be absolutely crazy, because I do that for like a minute and I'm just done. What
Yeah, yeah.
what what is what is like your mindset like when you're actually climbing and you're going through pain? Does that does that motivate you to keep going, or what goes through your mind?
Um, Climbing's really weird. I kind of describe it like two ways that like you're climbing well is it like feels very flowy and everything just feels right, or you're just like every move you're like, oh, this feels terrible. Like you're doing something wrong, or it's just like uncomfortable and you're fighting through it. So I would say kind of like when any pain sets in climbing, it's a lot more of a mental block than anything. Like obviously, if it's like pain that's going to cause injury, like you have to readjust, you have to drop down something, but most of the time it's a lot of just like sucking it up and being like, you know what, it's probably not going to hurt as bad once I'm out of this position. Just embracing the uncomfortability, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I've spoken to a lot of a lot of people who I deem as uncommon, like yourself,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
they always they there's a pattern that goes on. They always say you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
it's literally what you said. Yeah, it's incredible. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Have you obviously touched on there, injuries. Have you had any big injuries yourself that's put you out of climbing for a while?
So every time I've been injured, I've never taken time off of climbing. I had a pretty bad back injury when I was 16. I had a bulging torn and herniated disc in my back. And then actually a couple months ago, I hurt my back lifting, and I've been kind of like fighting with it ever since then.
Mm.
But yeah, just I don't know. I'm not a big proponent of like taking time off for any injury. I think you should just adjust your training around it, and that's kind of just what I do. And sometimes that's a daily adjustment, which is hard when you have like a set training plan because you're like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do today, and sometimes you just show up and you're like, I can't do that, like because whatever injury is just hurting too much, and then you just figure it out. But then that's also kind of a cool way to like expand your training a little bit. You might do things that you would normally do, which is always good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. What does your training look like at the moment? Are you training full time then? I'm guessing like 5 days a week, is that?
Yeah, training full time, 5 days a week. Usually climbing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I strength train on usually Tuesday, Thursday, and then I do abs on Friday. And Saturday's usually just like a soul climbing day, which is nice.
Wow. Wow, it's incredible. Yeah. What does your diet look like then? Are you on a strict diet?
Not a strict diet. I basically eat healthy, and then if I ever like want dessert or something, I'll have it. But if it gets to the point where I feel like I'm having like too much of it, I'm like, okay, man, like you got to cut back on this. But I don't know. I just believe in like balance and not like really depriving myself, but just being
Yeah.
healthy and giving myself the best advantage I can that way.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure you burn so many calories as well, right? Just doing what you're doing, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I especially notice it after like longer climbing sessions, or when I'm just like doing new workouts. Because like I think in your mind you're just kind of used to eating like your normal amount that you eat every day or whatever, and then you do a longer workout, and the next day you're like, why am I so hungry the entire day? You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then you catch up and you're like, okay, cool, I'm not hungry anymore. But it's
Yeah.
funny until then.
No, definitely. What are your goals at the moment then, Shara? Is there any short-term and long-term goals you've set yourself?
Yeah, so I have a competition coming up next month in Salt Lake City. So, the goal is to really just do as well as I can at that. And then the rest of the competitions this year, it's kind of just like shaky on knowing like who's going to have competitions and what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, really just do well at the competitions is kind of always like the main goal for me.
Hmm. And what is that competition? Is it like an indoor or an outdoor climb?
It's going to be an indoor competition.
Oh, nice. Is there a big difference? I'm sure there is, right? Is there a
Mhm.
big difference between indoor and outdoor climbing?
Yeah, I mean, I think so at least. They feel like completely different sports to me. I think it's really hard to compare them, and like the grading system is the same for indoors and outdoors, but that's the one thing I tell people when they go climbing outside is I'm like, you're probably not going to climb as hard as you do in the gym. And then kind of like on the flip side, people who climb outside a lot and can climb hard outside, a lot of times like if they go into the gym or into a competition, they won't probably perform as well as they do outside. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of kind of like ego smashing both ways.
Yeah. I saw a video of you and you said this thing and it was awesome. You said when you're climbing indoors, all the rocks are sticking out, but when you're climbing
Yeah.
outdoors, all the rocks are in, right? So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
different in that aspect as well. Yeah. and and you live in Arizona, such a beautiful place. I've actually been to the Grand Canyon myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I saw a video of you as well climbing, and then there's like a lake, is it? Is is that like the best climb that you do? What is your favorite like climb on what surface?
Ooh, I would say so. My favorite like climbing area in Arizona is called Priest Draw, and it's in Flagstaff, and that's just like typical bouldering. But the place you're talking about is East Clear Creek, and that's kind of like the main deep water soloing area for Arizona. And the climbing is like it's very good there. I'm pretty scared of heights, deep water soloing though, so like there are just certain things I'll never complete them because I get to the point where I'm comfortable falling, and I'm like, okay, well, my journey ends here, you know. But that's a really fun place.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a time where you thought that if I slip now, this could be the end of me? Have you ever had any moments like that at all?
Luckily, no, because I don't do anything like that dangerous. But yeah, that's also why I don't do anything like that dangerous. I don't like being that scared.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
What's like the highest you've climbed? Do you know?
Um, I mean, a few hundred feet, but that sounds like exciting, and I mean, I like it is, but
Mm.
it's so safe that it's not like the height you're going doesn't really increase the risk when you're on a rope, you know, and if you're being safe with everything.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything you're doing like outside of climbing? Like I don't know, like motivational speaking or anything like that at all?
Not really. I mean, mainly, yeah, what I do is I climb and I train and, you know, just boring like regular person running errand stuff. But yeah, everything is really focused around climbing. I guess I did teach like some clinics the other day, which is always super fun. But yeah, mostly a lot of training.
Wow. Yeah, it has you have to be obsessed about it, right? If you want to be the best, of course. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, you have to like just admit that it's in your entire life and make it your entire life.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. When you're competing in climbing, because I'm not really like I'm not really, I haven't really watched climbing that much.
Mhm.
What is it? Is it like a time system? Is it like you're racing someone else, or how would someone win in a climb?
Yeah, so there are basically three disciplines of climbing, and this is just like the very like basic explanation. But so
Mm.
the one that everyone thinks of is speed climbing. Whoever gets to the top the fastest, that's like its own thing. Then there's sport climbing, where you have a rope on, and it's whoever gets the highest on the wall. They score like the handholds are like the first handhold is like 1 point, and the second hold is 2 points, and so on. And then when I do bouldering, so which is without the ropes, but we're on shorter walls, so it's not dangerous, you'll end up having like four different boulder problems, like climbs in a final. And you have 4 minutes to try the first one, and you get as high as you can. And you've done like a preview of it before, but you haven't tried it. So you have those 4 minutes to try it, get as high as you can, then you rest while everyone else goes through it. Then you do that for three more boulders. And then whoever kind of has the highest score combining the four boulders wins the competition.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, lovely. That's amazing. It do you have like a role model then in climbing, that someone you look up to, or are you just motivated yourself? Are you like intrinsically driven yourself?
I would say it's a lot of being intrinsically driven. I also think a lot of it has to do with like growing up in Arizona. There just aren't a lot of people competing.
Hmm.
Like no one competes professionally in Arizona. Like it's just me, and it's kind of always been like that.
Oh,
So yeah, it's a lot of me like just trying to be as good as I can, you know, and just pushing myself as much as I can.
yeah. You must have, the support you must have is incredible, because, you know, I've heard this story a lot where kids go to their
Mhm.
parents and say, "Look, I want to be a professional, footballer or
Yeah.
whatever it is." And especially climbing, right? It's not something that's as big as, American football or anything like that, right?
Yep.
And having like a mother, just say, "Yeah, let's go for it." That must be
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, that's amazing. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Is climbing a male dominated sport, or is it both like female and male involved a lot?
You know what? There are a lot of men and a lot of women. I'm trying to think, like, someone actually has numbers on this and knows. I would say, like, when I go to the gym regularly, it's going to be predominantly male. But I think the actual numbers are that it's like getting to be a pretty even split, at least in the US, between men and women.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible. If there's one thing you would tell you, I like to ask this question because I get a lot of
Hmm.
different answers. If you could go back in time, I know you're still,
Hmm.
young yourself. If you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself? Is there anything that you would like tell yourself?
I would tell myself to start strength training and campusing younger, uh, just because like I didn't for so long, and I think it would have helped me a lot if I had done it earlier.
Yeah,
But other than that, I mean, I always like worked pretty hard, so I don't think I need a big kick in the butt or anything. But just yeah, like implement these parts of your training earlier on.
that's amazing. Yeah. Just a few more questions now before I let you go. I know
Yeah.
that your time is valuable. Uh, if you if you could describe what success is for you, and like what would you advise, people to
Mhm.
reach success, what would that look like?
Success for me is just feeling proud of myself, and sometimes like I think it's good to have goals, but you're not always going to meet your goals, and I think it's okay to be like, you know what, like I didn't meet my goal, but like, man, I'm so proud of myself. Like just because you didn't reach like some metric you set for yourself, like it basically it means nothing if you put the effort in and you did, the best you could. So I think that's what I would tell people is like it's so important to have goals and to strive for things, but don't forget to be proud of yourself. Like I remember after climbing professionally for almost 10 years, I'd never won a professional competition. And I was like, you know what? I would love to win a professional competition, but I'm so proud of my career that like if I never do, that's fine. Like that's okay. Like I've done like such a good job. And I've just like thought that at multiple points as I've just been like so proud of like my career. And if I had to stop climbing today, like I don't want to stop climbing today, but I'd be like, you know what? Like I'm like very fulfilled with how everything has gone.
Yeah.
And then I guess so where I was getting with this is actually funny enough, I did win a professional competition at one point. So like it did happen. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself, even if you're not meeting your ultimate goals.
Yeah, that's amazing. It takes courage and discipline to do what you've done, like a lot of people,
Hmm.
it would be easy for people to give up, right? To say that, look, I haven't made
Yeah.
it, I'm just going to give up. Joe Rogan actually touched on this, and it was kind of interesting what he said if someone's parents say to someone like, oh look, you're going to be a football player, for example, right? But the
Hmm.
person's like, I don't want to be a football player, and then they give up, trying to be a football player. People are
Hmm.
going to look at that person and be like, oh, that person's not disciplined. But if that person wanted to be a golfer and they love golf, they're going to be disciplined and they're going to stick at it. So do what you love,
Yeah.
which is basically the moral of that story. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing everything you've done, everything you've achieved, and you're still young, but I don't like saying that because you're
Yeah.
a year older than me, I believe. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're still young. It's just the start for you, and this is amazing. I'm so excited to see what your journey is going to look like from now on. Is there anything that you would like to say to the people listening? Maybe is there anything that you know maybe to your fans or anything like that?
Oh, I guess I'll just say the one thing that I basically tell everyone all the time is work hard and then work harder. And if there's anything you want to achieve in life, don't let it go and just endure the suffering to make it happen.
Yeah. Yes, this is why I love talking to people like you. Is like that theme. There's a theme. Be comfortable being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
that's what separates people, And yeah, that's amazing. No,
Hmm.
thank you so much, Sierra. I really appreciate your time. What I'll do is I'll leave all of your social media down below. I know you're very active on social media. You get back to
Okay.
everyone, which is amazing
Oh
as well.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you so much. And yeah, just good luck for Salt Lake City as well. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.